Call this meeting to order. Trustee Day, would you please say the invocation for us?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for the blessings of life. Ask, Father, that we would not take those blessings for granted, that whenever you, in essence, bless us, Lord, that we would realize from whom it comes. Ask, Lord, as we go about tonight's business meeting, that we would, in essence, you would give us wisdom, that we would make the right decisions. And Father, that you would continue to bless Trinity Valley in a special way, that it meets the needs within our communities. We thank you for the leadership. And Father, we thank you for the staff that ministers each and every day. Continue to watch over us and bless us. For we ask these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Consider next order on the agenda is consider public comments. Is anyone here to speak? And none. Dr. Morrison, President's report.
All right. First, we're going to have an update from the CAT conference that's coming up, and Trustee Hember is going to give us an update about the dates of the conference and some of the topics.
Just very quickly, board, all of y'all have either gotten emails from CAT itself and or me. We are having our annual conference at Fort Worth, being hosted by Tarrant County Junior College next month, September 14th, 15th, and the 16th. Deadline for registration for that is August the 25th. So if any of you would like to participate and go with that, please see Norma and she will take care of you. Thank you.
All right. You remember the semester starts on Monday. We're excited to kick off the semester. We had a great start convocation on Monday. Seems to be a lot of positive kind of a vibe going on campus right now. So we're looking for the start of semester. We've been steadily moving students in today, and we'll be moving more students in tomorrow. Remember, the kickoff to the soccer season is tomorrow at 2 and 4 against Murray State. And volleyball officially kicks off their season. They've had scrimmages Friday out at Salt Lake. And of course, next Thursday will be football. So hope to see everyone that, at some of these events as the season kicks off. Just a little sidebar. I met a student today, member of our cheer squad from Germany. First time ever to be away from home. And he's here on our campus, and he's really excited, and he was a neat young man to visit with. So I encourage you to come out to events and opportunities you meet our students and hear their stories. It's really touching to listen to them and kind of hear their perspectives and so forth. And of course, our next scheduled board meeting will be the 28th. And in front of you, you have our Cardinal Club kickoff for this year. Kind of our fundraising efforts for our athletic programs. Please just kind of give it a look over it, share it with a friend, share the QR code, and help us support our young men and women that do a fabulous job in representing our institution, and really have been a major part of creating a brand that just transcends, our little area across the nation. And if you look up things, the biggest question I've seen out there over the last few years is, what does CCFC means when it comes to cheerleader? And it's a secret, and everybody in the country wants to know what it means. But that tells you how big the Trinity Valley brand is across this country. And I will end my report there.
Thank you, Dr. Morrison. Next order of business is consider discuss fiscal year budget for 2023-2024. Mr. Hopkins.
Board, I gave you a revised budget. We had some property tax issues that necessitated me to change the revenue mainly. It's the same format that you had before. The only thing that you're going to see in addition are the pages that are budget cover pages out of the group of taxation software. I will tell you the percentages of the numbers that you see are coming from the numbers that come out of the appraisal districts. It's not our budget, it's the property tax budget based on numbers they have. And so that's just required to be a part of the budget. So when I present it after a certain point, I always include those pages. And you'll see those same things on the website. Again, just complying with the law. But does anyone have any questions? We've talked about it before, or budget committee, or y'all have any other comments? Try to summarize in the letter kind of where we stood on various items like the tax rate, formula funding, the salary things that we agreed to. And we are, the agenda is set that you could approve it tonight if you so desire.
Board, do you have any comments or questions? Do we hear a motion to approve the proposed budget?
I'll make that.
Trustee Monk, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consider and discuss the proposed tax rate to support the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
This has been a really fun property tax season. As usual from last year, I had to revise some of Henderson County numbers. One of the issues that we have is the amount of money that is under protest. Last year at this point, and I'm talking about after the districts have certified to us, $833 million is still under protest. This year, it's probably pretty close to that, but we've all gotten a little smarter in the sense that we're all taking those numbers and cutting them in half. Because I think the districts, the old will lose 4 to 8% business is no longer true. The reason I mention that is because those numbers have to be added in when we calculate the tax rates. So if you're not going to get half of that money, you have to be very careful. And so I think some of my peers that I've talked to, we've all kind of wised up to this fact. And so being very conservative about what we add back in that's under protest. So I've used basically for Henderson County half, it's 189 million. And that's half of what's under protest. And so we do have to lower the tax rates this year. I've got the analysis in here. We're currently, and I'm talking about the main tax district, 0.11549. We need to go to 0.110990, 0.4% to get below the rollback rate. Rollback rate is 0.110992. The Palestine district, again, we have to lower theirs a little bit as well to 0.043020. Again, I talked about the purpose of this is the calculations that I have to go through based on state law. I calculate that what they call voter approval rates, so on the rollback rate. If we are above that, it's automatic election. You don't want to do that. So I've set both rates just slightly below that so that we can stay below it. But we're set to get another, even lowering rate, another $2.1 million above our current budget. Now I'll try to answer any questions. I won't go through all the calculations. You don't want to see them, I can certainly see. I think Norman has already pointed out to y'all on what we're doing tonight is we're voting to place a proposal on a future agenda. We will publish public notices as required 7 days prior to the 28th. And if that means we will hold the public hearing, adopt the tax rate, and so forth. So the motion that she put before you is straight out of the law. When we have to, there's been some confusion in the past board to think that they're approving it tonight. You're just voting to propose essentially. So we do the public hearing.
Do we have any questions of Mr. Hopkins? And do we have anyone that would like to make that motion if you don't have a question?
I move to approve the placement of the 2023-2024 tax rates on a future agenda as follows. For the regular tax district, the rate of 0.11099 per $100. For the branch campus maintenance district, the rate of 0.043020 per $100. And to hold a public hearing on August 28th, 2023, prior to adoption of the tax rates at the same meeting.
I'll second.
In a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, board for your discussion, we have consider and discuss insurance quotes and options. You have at your desk a Hibbs Hallmark statement. Mr. Hopkins, can you fill us in on that?
Our insurance agent has run into some traffic. I was counting on most of this coming from her. We will not be making a decision. We have a bid that we still expect in from TPS. And purposely in this document, some of the rates are not quoted for Pete because we have that bid outstanding. I was counting on Brenda to explain to y'all what's going on with the insurance industry. We're having a huge increase this year. Some of it she's got in her letter, some of it I was hoping she could explain. Essentially, in a nutshell, a lot of the insurance carriers are even leaving Texas. We had several folks that we approached. They either left Texas, didn't quote for various reasons, and also I have read today that the reinsurance people, which are all the same people that are providing reinsurance for all these carriers, they're also leaving Texas. And I've talked to y'all before, and we've even discussed individually about trying to get these things earlier. The reason we can't is because the reinsurance people won't give the carriers their reinsurance rates. And like I said, Brenda's not here. She'll have to table it anyway. We don't need to wait on her, but I just wanted to tell y'all kind of where we're at best I can, and then let her explain the rest of it.
Any idea when we might have some, I mean, we're talking about a difference of $280,000, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
So
We expect to get the TPS, what she told me today, the other quote, just next week before the board meeting. We will have it before the board meeting. At that time, we'll be able to do a comparison. But she's spoken for budget committee, Steve, you call. We've had several markets that she was approaching. And no one would, and a lot of people, as I understand it, again, I'm not an insurance agent. They don't want to touch schools. You got a lot of under roof. Dr. Easton may be able to speak to some of this as well with me, but that's what I'm being told. The market is just out of its mind. So,
I agree with that.
but like I said,
We're experiencing the same thing with our simple athletes trying to recover, which is a headache.
what have y'all seen a huge increase?
Yes, tremendous.
Okay. That's what I'm being told. Brenda can explain more than I can about the carriers and what she's seen. She was on her way. We can pick it up at the 28th meeting. I apologize for the lateness.
Here she is.
Just in time. Or y'all, those of y'all don't know this is Brenda Thomas. It's on one.
Norma, can you email me that sheet?
I think the same thing.
Okay, how would you let into it, David? Just.
Well, I tried to briefly tell them, a little bit about what was going on. We have.
Dr. Reisinger said something.
Okay, so, just kind of an overview. I have given you numbers from one of our proposals. We're waiting on another proposal to come through. For those, there were a few people that were in a budget meeting that I attended. And in that budget meeting, I gave a list of all the markets that we're approaching and just a brief summary. The majority of those markets have basically said, we're not doing business in Texas, we're pulling out. Or, basically that all of them have said that, except for the one here and the one that's still standing. This is coming in next week. So those are the two. You have one, and then we have another option coming in next week. So that's what you're seeing here. And I don't know what that option is going to look like. I've seen some numbers from them on some other colleges and schools. It's kind of all over the page. It has to do with territories and where you're located and experience, and when and how deductibles may vary. So just so you know, there's going to be all kinds of variances there, of which I will give a clear comparison for you so it won't be so hard to evaluate the two. I'll lay them side by side and hit the big points so it'll be easy for you to make a decision. And I'm very familiar with the two different programs and the differences between the two. So I expect, it's very possible that we could get something less than we have here. It's very possible. It just depends on how aggressive they want to be. Most of the things I'm seeing from them right now, they're not being real aggressive. They're being very, very conservative. So again, but we need to see those numbers. But I did send David a letter, really not very detailed up to this, but in particular, just what's happening and the reason for it and what's happening in Texas. Most of the information in the letter had to do with historically. Oh, you might have it. Yes, okay. So it definitely talks about, we're talking about a lot of weather-related claims and a lot of damages. And so not what you're seeing and what we're seeing as insurance agents is now we're seeing insurance companies either folding financially, so that's a big concern, or they're pulling out of Texas altogether because of the claims history. And there are other states, not just Texas. There's some other states that start to see that, California being one of them, Florida being one of them. But Texas has taken a pretty big hit, and the insurance companies are saying, we have to improve our bottom line. So one of the components that David and I talked about today, which I think is important for you to kind of, I hesitate to give too much, but there's a lot that goes into these school programs that are under a purchasing agreements, and it has to do with reinsurance purchasing. So a component, and I'm going to focus on property right now, because that's really what we're talking about. That's the concerns we're talking about. So when you talk about reinsurance, first of all, there are very few reinsurance carriers left that want to do business in Texas. So all these different programs out there are going to the same insurance companies. So they're having to decide, okay, I'll take a portion of this program, I'll give a portion of this program and this program. So it's all the same players. So they're just deciding how much of each program they're going to participate in and where that risk is going to be. And so just so you know, on our program alone, I say ours, the one you're with now, they have, I think last time I looked, was 15 different reinsurers on property or line. So you've got a broker out there that's having to stack this up. Okay, this one takes the first layer, this one takes the next layer, this one takes the next layer. And if any of those pull out, then you've got to find somebody else to pick up that layer. So I'm really telling you a lot more than probably what you want to know, but it's not just as easy as going and getting a homeowner's quote from one insurance company. And I know y'all don't think that way. I know that. But I wanted you to see that piece of what's happening out there and why there is a delay. Now, the sad thing is, it's just you and I standing here. That's the sad thing is, and I wish I had control over this because as far as the delay, because I would fix it, but I don't. And what has happened in these programs is most of the reinsurers are saying, we're not going to do anything until after May. And so what happened this year, so last year we were late. And then what happens this year is here comes June, they're finalizing their rates. And what happens in June? We have some severe wind and hail claims in June in Texas. And the reinsurers are saying, whoa, we thought this was over with. Now we were out there about to release rates and now we have to relook at it because all these claims are coming in.
Yeah.
And they're from all over Texas. But we had additional claims come in. We meaning all of Texas. So again, I wish the message could be different. I wish we were not down to the wire like we are again. You do have your numbers from Pete, and then we will be getting those other numbers unless the reinsurers pull out. But right now, as late as this afternoon, I talked to them and they're working it. So it's the best I can do. David, yeah.
Well, so we'll have those for you on the 28th. Make a decision. And like I said, I'm not encouraged, but I mean, I'd like, since Dr. Reese, y'all are expressing the same thing.
Yes.
I'm just a conspiracy theorist, like, why are they coming after TVCC? Well, it's not just us. It's probably every school, every college.
Yes.
And so there's no place to hide.
Yeah, and one of the things that David asked me, and so I want to repeat it here, is consistently, as far as just the members of the program that you're with now and the program that you have rates with, consistently, they're being consistent on their increases. So they're not just, oh, let's put it all on Trinity Valley. So they're given proportionate rate increases across the board to all members. Now, the exception to that would be location. So they do have some schools that are located in North and West Texas that get more weather than y'all do. So in those situations, their rates are higher. And then if it's a school or college that has had, a history of claims, then they weight that and they pass more of that to them. But for the most part, every one of the members in this program are sustaining increases.
Yep.
Any questions that I can ask or answer? I mean, anything. I'm here. I'm living this. I mean, it's I fuss at them, somebody fusses up the chain, it goes up the chain, and it does no good. Because the bottom line is the reinsurers are saying, you're lucky that I'm even giving you insurance. And that's really where they are. I mean, and when you look at the loss ratios on all these programs, not just this one, the insurance companies they're basically saying, we can't make money. Cannot make money out of this rate. So we've got to either not do it or pull out, just pull out completely or get money for the risk.
Well, thank you for your efforts.
Oh, good. I'm trying.
Anybody have any questions? Hope for good things next meeting.
I'm sorry about bad news, but just something like this.
Thank you.
We need a motion.
Oh, okay, do we need a motion to table the insurance discussion until our next meeting? Trustee Sloan made the motion. Seconded by Terry.
Okay.
Well, we have no other business. Dr. Charlie, can you give us the word?
Man, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Here a second. Trustee Day seconds it. We're adjourned. Thank you.